$55 million just slipped out of America. 200% tariff, a heavy punch aimed at a national farming icon.
John Deere is moving some production from Iowa to Mexico. The company is acquiring land there to build a facility that will be operational by 2026.
John Deere, a symbol of American farming for nearly 2 centuries, has just confirmed a $55 million investment to build a new manufacturing plant in Ramos Arizpe, Coahuila, Mexico. The plant is expected to begin operations in 2026, focusing on producing mid-size equipment like skid steer loaders and compact track loaders, machines widely used by small and mid-scale farms, especially in developing markets. But this wasn't a random decision. It's a move based on 3 critical factors. First, labor costs in Mexico are about 70% lower than in the US, creating a major price advantage. Second, the location is close to high-growth markets like Brazil, Argentina, and Central America, where demand for modern farming machinery is rising fast. And third, it helps avoid the supply chain disruptions that have become a nightmare for American manufacturers since the pandemic. John Deere isn't alone. They're one of many US companies now choosing flexibility over nostalgia, because in a global race, standing still means falling behind. Right after John Deere announced plans to build a factory in Mexico, Donald Trump spoke up during a gathering with farmers in the Midwest.
I just noticed behind me John Deere tractors. I know a lot about John Deere. I love the company. But as you know, they've announced a few days ago that they're going to move a lot of their manufacturing business to Mexico. I'm just notifying John Deere right now. If you do that, we're putting a 200% tariff on everything.
This wasn't just an off-the-cuff remark. It was a calculated policy message, a clear warning aimed at the growing trend of American companies moving production overseas to cut costs. Though he didn't provide details, Trump sent an unmistakable signal. In his view, manufacturing in the US is not a business choice. It's a patriotic obligation, regardless of cost efficiency or global competition. The 200% tariff threat against John Deere isn't just a strike at one company. It's a red flag for the entire industry, especially for those planning to share production with low-cost countries. A clash has now begun between a global business mindset and a protectionist economic ideology. What caught many observers off guard was how John Deere responded. No apologies, no retreat, no retraction. They're sticking to the plan. In an official statement, the company clarified, "This is not a large-scale shift. Less than 5% of our North American production will be affected. Our larger strategic equipment will continue to be made in Iowa and Illinois." Deere isn't denying the political pressure, but they're prioritizing long-term strategy over short-term optics. In today's world, where supply chains snap like overtuned guitar strings, and material costs shoot up like bullet trains, keeping everything domestic just isn't realistic anymore. If you're not optimizing, you're falling behind. They also pointed to rising competition. Kubota in Japan and Mahindra in India are already producing in low-cost countries and eating into global market share. If Deere doesn't move faster and cheaper, they risk being left in the dust. How did Wall Street, the media, and investors react? Trump's counterattack made waves instantly. But instead of panic, the financial markets held their ground. Deere's stock dipped slightly at market open, then quickly bounced back and stabilized. Analysts at Bloomberg called the move a practical step, aligned with global trends. More importantly, top executives at major corporations began watching closely, because if a giant like John Deere is forced to abandon an international plan over a single statement, it sends a chilling message about the stability of the US business environment. But while investors see strategy, farmers see risk. If the 200% tariff becomes real, a mid-range tractor could jump from $70,000 to over $100,000, far beyond the reach of thousands of small family farms, and it won't stop there. Dealers, service shops, and regional suppliers will all feel the aftershocks. Costs go up, sales go down, income disappears. In the end, it won't be corporate execs or politicians paying the price. It'll be the hands that still plant the soybeans, harvest the corn, and work the land. every single day in rural America.